On this show, you'll find inspiration, motivation, and advice from experts, as well as valuable tips on how to get started or improve your business. Let's dive into how you can begin and grow your wisdom business. Inspiring others looks different for everyone. How will you inspire? Welcome to the Wise Dome podcast, and today we're chatting with Fiona Redding. Welcome to our podcast.
Thanks, Nikki. Great to be here.
Well, it's lovely to chat with you. We were having a little pre-chat, and I think I know the direction we're going to go in this particular conversation today. Tell our audience who you are, obviously first, but also how you fell into the online world with your business.
So I fell into my business full stop. The whole thing just sort of happened. In fact, a lot of everything that I've done has happened really out of kind of a need, like a necessity, which is it's a great driver in a lot of ways. I think when you've kind of really got that pressing, compelling driver pushing you forward, propelling you forward, and then you create your vision. So I'm Fiona Redding, and my business is called The Happiness Hunter, and I call myself a mindset and wellbeing coach, but it's very holistic in what I do. It really is taking an approach to the entire person and their life. I teach a concept called life integration rather than work-life balance. So it's really about understanding that it's all our life. Wherever we go, there we are. Who are we? What do we want for our lives? What direction are we heading in? What do we value? And what might that successful, harmonious, happy life look like for us as an individual, as a member of a family, as somebody in a workplace or in their own business, as a member of the community. So that's basically what the essence, I guess, of the Happiness Hunter is. And it really began in 2012, where I found myself, I just actually couldn't believe. I woke up one day and it was like I was just smashed in the face, and I could not believe this had become my life. I was in a really unhappy relationship, had two tiny kids, had fallen pregnant quite unexpectedly. So I'd come back to Australia. It's a very long story. But anyway, I decided that I needed to stop drinking. So I stopped drinking in January 2013. And then 2 weeks later, I left my partner with 2 little kids, didn't have any money. I'd had a startup business because I hadn't been able to find work. And I decided that I could laterally, thinking about what I could do, match my skill set as business consulting over to self-employment.
Yep.
But then I went through this absolute kind of like a tower event in my life. Like my whole world collapsed and imploded. And I had to sort of learn about, how I'd got to this point and what I needed to do to start to turn my life around. And I started working with my clients and sharing with my clients what I was doing in my own personal journey of kind of self-discovery. And that's how the Happiness Hunter was born. So it was really just about working with people, predominantly women in business, actually, just helping them in themselves be better in themselves so they could be better for business. Because the reality is any strategy, you can Google it, right? You can read a book about it, but it's the piece on ourselves, understanding the way we think, the way we feel, how our program determines our behaviour, all of that sort of stuff. And I deeply immersed myself in it, started studying metaphysics, and that's basically the business. Yeah. So I was just doing coaching, face-to-face coaching. I was running workshops. I was running retreats, had the Happiness Hunter walks. And then I started to move into, a lot of my clients worked in corporates. So then I started moving into delivering training and coaching for executives.
Right.
Facilitating workshops, all of that sort of stuff. And then we had COVID.
Yay.
Yeah. And literally I lost 80% of my business overnight. And
it's just crazy, isn't it? Because you think about the after effect of what happened with COVID and everyone and what you're doing.
I know. But I just decided to see this as an opportunity, and I honestly had no choice. Because I'd been a single parent and doing this startup business, and I literally, like financially, I just hadn't been able to get ahead. And of course, that's a lot of the mindset piece as well. But I'd just been kind of trucking along, head down, just this, eventually this ship is going to turn. This ship is going to turn, and of course, it will turn. It does turn. Yeah. But you just got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And so then I really looked at, okay, I've got to get my business online. And I was going, okay, so I tried over the years to try and do that. And I really just the idea of an online business, which I think we'll probably talk about a little bit more. Anyway, so I was like, okay, so let's look at what I'm really good at. I'm really good at building community, connecting with people. Yep. People really know, like, and trust me. Like, I have a very good relationship with people, right? And that's the first thing in business, right?
Exactly.
We have to have people who want to work with us, or we want to work with them. Exactly. And then I was like, and I'm really good at what I do. Like, I'm really, really good at my work. I have very successful relationships with my clients in terms of helping them in all of the above. The gap for me was actually in the sales.
Yes.
And also in what I could offer in this time that actually connected my people with how I could help them.
Right.
So I did some sales training, and I found this coach. She was in Ireland. It was amazing. And I did this online program with her, and it was actually called Plan B. And the program was actually about helping people like me shift in the moment, like start making money today in this environment. And the program was great. The coaching was great. And I built a program called the Steps for Change. And I started, it was a 30-day program I did with Bernadette in July 2020. Right. And by start of August, I had 10 people enrolled in a $2,000 program. Awesome. To a 6-week program. And I built that program in real time. So it was only the most I was ever had was 4 days. Wow. It was the most extraordinary thing. And so then I went on to have I did $100,000 in 3 months, and, it was amazing. Yeah. But it was a real time and place, and it was very, it was like exactly what the market needed, because I did my proper market research. I knew my stuff because I'd been working in this field for the last 6 or 7 years. Yeah. And I knew I had confidence in my ability to be able to deliver what I sold. Exactly. And that was how I kind of turned everything around and became and had a true online offering. And then we came out of COVID, and I'm like, I want to go back to the face-to-face. I like the face-to-face. But I was just saying to you before we started this recording, I actually just woke up this morning, and it's like there is a part of me that has fully accepted that actually the core of my business is online. I have an online business, and there was a resistance to that. I think I was like, I've got an online. I just had to get everything online because of COVID. When COVID's finished, I'm going to move back. It's like, but I've got this amazing program that I can literally work from home and do and I can manage my time, and I know how to build communities, and I know how to do all of the stuff online. Yeah. I just need to kind of start to scale that up a little bit so that I am able to still do I still do speaking, and I still do run workshops, and I still run retreats, but it's like is that my core business offering? I don't know. So I'm really kind of just looking at what is my core business offering now. And I think the online and the speaking, the face-to-face speaking are my things, not running workshops and events. But I'm still not quite, that's still a bit kind of, I'm working with that. But the effort and the energy that's involved in running an in-person event versus the effort and energy that's involved in running something online versus the reach and the investment and the resources and the effort and the energy and all of that for probably a better result. It's like, why am I still bashing this need to have to do stuff in person?
Yeah, exactly. No,
really fascinating.
And just as you were pointing that out, I was just actually going to say, going online is one thing, and you just said the word reach. It does come down to the reach, isn't it? It's like who you're marketing to, but you did your homework, you've been in it and so forth. And the sort of going topic this week, and it's interesting because I was talking to my coach yesterday about it. It's all about, walk the talk. You have to walk the talk. You can't teach theory. You have to have had some sort of experience in the background. And I think that's one of the main things that you were able to do, which was fantastic, because so many people try to do this during COVID, where they try to flip and somehow become a coach to support people when they hadn't actually been doing that prior. Whereas you did that, and it shows in the results that you got. And you had that sort of, that block of, I don't want to go online, but in the end you overcame it. And I think that's bloody awesome that you did that. And you opened up to the whole world of, I can help more people as well through this whole thing. So going through that process of going online, like you said, you had, a coach and you went through that program. What was the biggest take from that got you do you think, through that process of saying, yep, I'm going to go online and this is what I'm going to do? What was the biggest takeaway from that you think you learned?
Well, I think what's important to acknowledge with this is that at that time, because as I said, financially and all the rest of it, I really didn't have a buffer. I didn't have a financial buffer. And I was extraordinarily fortunate. And it was a whole lot of other stuff that kind of came into play with this as well. But because my ex had remarried and they were both essential workers, and we had two little kids at that stage. They were in grade 3 and grade 4.
Right.
Someone needed to be home to homeschool those kids.
Mm-hmm.
So Brendan and Alex and I had a conversation, and we decided that just to help ride this out, my lease was up where I was staying, and we decided that the kids and I would move in with them. It was the most, I can't even tell you this experience.
My head's going a bit crazy now.
So they could go to work. I could be at home to help look after their 2-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. I could homeschool the kids, and I had an opportunity without that relentless financial pressure to really pivot my business.
Right.
So I had this pressing need.
Hunger. Yeah.
Like it was the second time in my life, actually probably the third time in my life over the last 10 years, where my back was so far against the wall, there was nowhere else for me to move except forward. Yeah. And I think that's quite a powerful position to be in. You wouldn't really choose it in a way. You do choose it, but you don't choose it because you just have to get out of your own way. Yep. So I was like, right, I've got no option here. Like, it's COVID. I can't go and get a job anyway, even if I wanted to. I've got the kids to homeschool. Not that I did much of that. We were in the same area, but that was pretty much it. And, getting the business going. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway for me was just stop this in your head and just move. Like, take actions and believe in yourself. Like, set that really clear and compelling vision and just move. Like, stop guessing, second guessing, doubting, wondering, worrying. Like, I would never have known. And I thought, I'm going to sell this as a concept before I build it. I didn't have the ability to do anything other than that anyway. And that was really encouraging because I spoke to lots of people. I just spoke to everyone. I was like, right, what do you need? And initially what I thought it was going to be was going to be a 6-month one-on-one program, right? And I can't remember what it was called, a purposeful life or something I was going to call it. But then as I was speaking to people, and also because I was going through my own process of going through a very intensive 30-day program with Bernadette, and seeing the benefit of this really immersive process where you just taking action every day, you're focused every day, you're doing all of those things every day. It really helped me organize my thinking and formalize frameworks that I had been kind of intuitively or unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever, sharing with people. I had to kind of bring it into my conscious awareness. Okay, well, how do I teach this? What does this teaching look like? How does that work? And the only way you do that is through learning. And because I built this program in real time, which it's full on, but that's the way I think is an excellent way to build a program.
Exactly,
because what it meant was that I was able to see where people were struggling, and add and adapt what I thought the program might look like as we went. So I had an outline. Like, I knew that this is where people were and I could take them to this point. I knew that, having had years of experience of doing that with people. But what that looked like in terms of a program, I didn't really know. So, like, say, for example, I teach forgiveness. There's like 4 days in that program where we do forgiveness because people were struggling with it. And I'm like, okay, we just need to revisit this. It's like, yes, just because we've taught it, we're going to come back to it because, you've been working now for another 8 or 9 days. You've got new insights. You've got new awareness. Let's come back to forgiveness.
Let's revisit,
And I wouldn't have known to do that if I had have planned it out and it was all perfect. And the funniest thing, Nikki, so I obviously with COVID, I had no spare cash, like a zero spare cash. It was like this cobbled together thing that actually started on an email campaign, sending it to people, right? I was like, okay, like, just work with what you got.
Love it.
And so I recorded these videos. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, but I've got blonde hair, right, which is dyed blonde hair. And so I had like regrowth. I was starting to get the grey around here. My eyebrows were like needed waxing. I didn't have any really great clothes or anything like that. And I just thought, I'm just going to show up for this as I am. So I recorded all of those videos. They've got no music. They've got no fancy little, titles, or they're just me pushing the phone off, like you can see my finger going to push the phone off. So I've had like 120 people go through this program. How many people have told me they have a problem with the videos, Nikki?
None.
Not one.
Love it.
They love the content because the content's good, and because it was such an inspired creation as well.
Yeah.
Like I just was like, right, what do people need? How can I best help them in this step of the journey? Like it was all about what do people need? What does these people need?
Yeah.
I didn't care. Like I just got out of 150% got out of my own way.
Awesome.
And people will say, oh my gosh, this, like the videos or the lessons or whatever. And I'd had a lot of it was stuff that I'd already been delivering, and I just put it together in a certain way. Some of it was new stuff, didn't really matter. But it was just like, what do people need? What do people need? What do people need? And I just kept asking myself that question. How can I create the best possible outcome for the people that are going through this program? That was my only focus. Good. And so, of course, it did. It just did, because this is the other point about selling before you create, right? Mm-hmm. I had already been paid for it. Mm. So that gave me something else as well. It's like, okay, I know this works. Yeah. And then so the next intake, I'll tell you this story too. So the first one I was like, okay, I'm going to sell this program for $2,000. Okay, right. And that was a big, big shift. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I learned how to sell, and I understood that I wasn't selling anything. I was helping people transform. Like I shifted all of that as well, like from selling being icky to actually, no, I've got something that can really genuinely help people here. Yeah. I just need to help them make that decision. And really, honestly, saying yes to any kind of transformation, the transformation, I'm telling you, is 90% in the yes. So my job is to help people say yes, because I know I can help them, not because I want the money. That's almost a consequence of helping people, right? And when you can really flip that, it shifts. Yeah. And so anyway, the first person I spoke to, and I was so excited. I was on the phone, and she's like, yeah, I need to do your program. And I said, okay, I'll give you $500 off. And so I did it for $1,500. And then there was this little voice in my head and said, you never have to discount this program ever again, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. I don't need to pay people to do the program. Like you've got to believe in yourself. It's good enough. And so then I put the price up to $2,000. And on about the fifth successful sales call, I heard this little voice in my head, next time you run this program, you're selling it for $2,500. And I said, okay. So since then, the program's been $2,500. And I was so close to putting it up earlier this year, and I changed all the page and everything. And then I was just like, no, actually, no, that doesn't feel right. And I put it back down to $2,500. I'm just like, it just feels like that is the right price point for this program. Yeah. And all of this stuff is just because we're focusing on what is best for the people we are here to serve.
That's what we should be doing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so then you get the inspiration and the guidance, and you kind of know which way to go, and you can kind of go, that's not the right way. I don't need to, there's other ways I can generate increased revenue. I just don't think at this moment in time I need to do it that way. It's not to say that I can't in the future, or I might not next time, but it's just not for now.
Yeah. God, it's interesting you're talking about this stuff, because I was talking about how icky selling feels, to so many people. Yep. We just got to have that confidence that it's the value in what we're providing them. And like you said, that's just a consequence to your helping other people change, deliver whatever it is that you're doing. Exactly, whatever it is you're doing. I think, we need more people saying stuff like that and just coming honest. Like, this is the honest truth. This is how I felt about it and so forth. Because I think so many people just drive down that path of this is what I do and this is how I do it, but never really talk about that, like that transparency side of it, of the barriers we sometimes have to really overcome with selling ourselves or our offer or whatever it is, because that is a big thing. I love this conversation, because you're just really bringing everything to the forefront here about going online and how much you're charging and all that sort of stuff.
And I think that's such a good point, because really I think when you believe in what you're doing, you're not selling anything to anyone. Yeah. So I think if if people are questioning, oh, I feel a bit icky, it's like, go back and do that inner work. Like, it's not just about strategy. As we said before, you can Google a strategy. And interestingly, I did that program with, I don't know how many other people, and probably there were quite a few that went through that. And I watched Bernadette, what she delivered that program for about 3 months, and then she started something else because it was like the market had shifted, right? So that she changed it.
Right.
But I was successful. Like, I reckon I'd probably be, like, without like blow my own trumpet or anything like that, but probably I would have been one of the more successful people in the outcome that I received from doing that.
Program.
And this is something I learned. I mean, I'd been a coach, but as an environment where I was a coachee rather than the coach, really understanding the power of proper focused action to achieve results. If you follow a methodology that works, then work it. Like, let's just don't think about it, just do it. But it's about making sure that you're aligning who you're learning from or working with, that there is a values alignment, that you do feel okay about the way they are doing things. And one of the things I learned from Bernadette, and this is why I chose her as my coach. Yeah. And this is the stuff that we all need to be aware of in anything that we're doing. So I decided, all right, weak point sales, massively weak point. Like, I'm a nurturer. I would do this work for free, give it away for free. I just believe in it so much. But that obviously doesn't put food on the table, and it doesn't pay my rent, and it doesn't buy my kids school shoes, and it doesn't pay for their activities. That's the reality. Okay, so we live in an environment, plus I'm a single parent, plus I'm running a business, plus I've got cash flow. Like, there's some pretty significant stresses here if I don't manage my money properly, right? Mm-hmm. So I did all of the online, signing up to people's masterclasses, downloading things, paying for like some of these cheaper programs. I ended up paying 12 months for this ridiculous thing, $70 a month or something, that it was ridiculous. As soon as I watched her first video, I thought, I am never going to do anything. And I was trapped in this 12-month thing. So I kind of got the understanding of how people were doing online lead gen kind of stuff.
Right.
It was a fascinating process. Anyway, I chose this woman because I actually got to the end of her sales funnel, which I didn't realize at the time I was in a sales funnel.
Yeah.
And I was ready to buy. And I thought, she is the one I need to learn from, because I didn't feel at any stage like I was being sold to, that I wasn't getting 55 million emails and do this and whatever. Like, it appeared respectful. It appeared understanding. She was speaking to my pain. I understood. I knew she understood where I was at, and I just trusted that she could help me. And then I ended up in the messenger with her, and I'm like, how did that happen? And I thought, that's what I need to learn from.
Yeah.
So I trusted it all. But I learned a lot along the way. And that goes back to that other point we were talking about before we started, about like just accepting that actually I do have an online business, and that is okay. Yeah. Because I still had in my head, even up until yesterday, Nikki, this yucky feeling about the online marketing world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something just shifted for me overnight. And maybe it was because we were having this conversation, and I believe in all of that, right? Something really shifted for me overnight, where, well, obviously I woke up this morning and I was just like, no, Fiona, just go back to that feeling that you had at the start of COVID when you started this program, and I just wanted to help people who were struggling during that time, because I knew I had the knowledge, the skills, the experience. Even if I was going through my own version of bloody whatever, I could still help people while I was struggling. Struggling didn't mean I didn't know what I know.
Yeah.
It meant that I'm still learning how to apply it. But that doesn't mean I can't teach it. I don't have to be the guru. I don't have to be, the master of all everything. I can just be a person who understands how to move through these times and share what I know.
Yeah. And that's what they're needing. And that they're seeing the same value in you and what they needed, just like you did with Bernadette.
Correct.
It's just, it's a knock-on effect. It's that ripple effect. But one thing I do have to say, and this is quite selfish, like I said yesterday, I was having this conversation with my coach yesterday of how yucky it felt to sell for me. Like, I have this platform I've pumped so much money into building, and now we're at the point of selling it. And I said to her, I just want to help people. I'm happy to just, I can't give it away for free. That's the problem. I can't give it away for free, but I'd love to. And I, want to do these workshops. And she's like, you're pumping so much of that in. You've got to earn from it. You need it for this. And remember to, and I'm like, it just feels yucky asking, and you just having this conversation with you. That's what I'm saying. I feel selfish because I feel like this is a session for me.
But it probably is, Nikki.
Recognizing needed it. I needed to hear it from you.
Yeah. But it came to me last night to share it today. That's what I mean. I literally woke up this morning and I'm just like, and I had a Facebook group, which was part of the training that I did with Bernadette, was a Facebook group. And then I just like, I don't really like having a Facebook group. And then I had this end of last year, I had this, it was a bit of an existential crisis. I will go so far as to say that. But I just felt like I was going a bit the wrong way. And, like I said, going back to why I started, like, why am I doing this? And I felt like I was it had become a bit too big and overwhelming. And I had the podcast and I was like, at what point am I going to feel like I've succeeded with the podcast? I had my first book. And I'm like, I still feel like a failure and I'm trying to publish my second book and I've just got all of these blocks and blah, blah, blah about it. And I don't know. I just felt like it was too big, too overwhelming, too cluttered. I was trying to do all the things. I had lost sight of my heart in it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, what would it look like to run a business? I pulled my podcast from distribution. I pulled the Happiness Hunter Guide from distribution. I blew up my Facebook group, closed it down. I thought, right, I'm giving myself a fresh start here.
Wow.
I'm going to take all of the lessons of the last 10 years because obviously COVID had happened. And then I was like, okay, is this still what I want to be doing?
Need a review, revise.
All the lessons of the last 10 years. But I was trying to look at everything in front of me and work out what to keep and what to go and what to modify. And I said, I don't know. It's too hard. So I thought, let it all go. You have to just trust you've done what you needed to do. And what needs to come back in will come back in. And that's all you got to trust. And I just let everything go. And then I'm like, okay, so I just gently started posting and I journaled one day, go journal a lot. And I said, right, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I've got a really strong faith as well. Like, what do I need to do? And I just wrote down, I just need to write from my heart. And I'm like, okay, that's the only thing I have to do right now. Okay, where can I write? I can write on my social media. So I just started writing, not selling anything, just writing. It was like my public journal. I just thought I need to be truly vulnerable here and sharing. This is the process I'm going through. Yeah. And things have really shifted actually. And my second book, I still haven't republished the first book because I want to rewrite it a little bit. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. The podcast is back up again, but so basically I've relaunched the podcast, but I'm only releasing my best episodes. And there's lots of episodes that I didn't really love that much. They're just haven't made the cut this time. And it's like, oh, that's okay. So they're just repurposing those episodes. And if people have heard them before, they can listen again. And if they haven't heard them and they're hearing it for the first time anyway. Yeah. And so then the book's just about published. It's up on Audible. It's just about to be available as a print copy. And it just feels so good because it's like, I'm just doing this for the right reasons, because I've got useful information to share with people. I can provide a huge amount of value. That brings me joy to be able to do that, to provide free content for people. Like, it is important because not everybody can access paid stuff, right? Yeah. But also I'm much more empowered in my paid offerings and not being scared to ask for the sale, not being scared to talk to people about it. So I'm sharing more about those offers. This is how you can work with me. Here's some testimonials. If you're in trouble, send me a message. Like, I'm really planting those seeds. I'm not in competition to anyone else. And I think this is really an interesting point for you, Nikki, right? Because there are other platforms that do what you're doing, right? But there's other coaches that do what I do. Yeah. What is it about your platform? Like, why did you create this platform? Tell me why you created this platform.
Yeah.
Why?
You want me to tell you now?
I do. Yeah, I do. Because this is the thing that you really need to tap into.
So, I started Wisdom just for the pure fact of my pain and purpose that I had for myself. Yeah. But the other thing was it just became this frustration. And it was a frustration that I could see so many other people were going through because they were just trying to start a business, like sharing their knowledge, right? Whether through membership or courses or whatever. But every platform that was offered to them, they were either limited with the ways they want to deliver their content or engage with their community, or the actual cost of these platforms. And, some of these platforms were charging so much, or there was the tech issues. If you want to do it on the cheap, you've got to plug in this, got to plug in that. And it just became there was just too many barriers that people were coming across. And I thought, there's an easier way around this. There has to be an easier way. People shouldn't be limited by how they want to deliver, because there's so many different ways we teach and so many different ways we learn. People sometimes learn through engagement. They need to have that commentary. They need to have that social interaction, engagement, chat, and so forth. And it's like none of the platforms were doing all of that under one roof, because the accessibility thing was one major part of it. And that's why we built it. We built it because I just had to open doors for people who wanted to share their knowledge. There's just too many good people out there that have amazing skills or have amazing experiences that they need to share. And it was just too many barriers. They just kept getting scared of, okay, yeah, your situation of going online was possibly different, it was that yucky feeling. But some other people just think, going online is, oh no, that's just an unknown. I just don't understand it. It's too techie. It's too expensive. No, forget it. When in actual fact, it's not. It doesn't have to be. So that's where we came in and said, no, this is just an easy platform. It's all very focus-based, So the way we've put a lot of psychology behind how users upload their content. So that's one of the things that we did. So yeah, that's my story.
But I think it's just what you have to do is just feel into that feeling every day, right? And so what can you do? Like, what scary action can you take today to let someone know about that? So every day I'm going to connect with someone who I could possibly help. But I'm not going to connect with them to sell them my shit. I'm actually just going to connect with them and get to know them and build a relationship with them and see where things go from there.
Yeah.
But that's the long game, and nobody wants to play that.
Yeah. I know. It's hard. But we run workshops. It's building credibility as well. That's one of the other things too. And, look, thank God, we've won awards and all that sort of stuff for our platform, which is great. That's that credibility. But the other side is letting people know that support's there. And I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to our industry of sharing knowledge and so forth. It's like you can share knowledge. And like I said earlier on, you can't just teach theory. You can't just teach, you've got to teach them your experience, what you went through so they can relate. Yeah. But also through that's almost like a type of support you're giving to your audience, because they're relating, they're knowing that you actually do understand the pain that they're going through. Yes. It's not just like you said, we can all learn strategies online. Like there's millions of them out there, but they're not going to understand the reason why those strategies were built the way they were built and how to keep traveling through those strategies, because each strategy has a pro and a con. And
I think also too with what you say is so powerful, because it'd be similar for you. Like the solution that we have developed has come through an understanding of a gap, a deep understanding. Yeah. And so therefore you understand when we can clearly define and articulate the problem, we can see the solution. So you're building something out of a need or a necessity that you identified. Your job now is just to communicate that to people.
Yeah, I'm not very good at articulating.
But that's what you're doing. You just did it to me then. And that's what we overthink this stuff. This is exactly what I'm saying. You completely overthink it. That is a post in itself, right? You just start sharing those stories, the human element of the business, the why, the who we are, how we came to being, why we think this is important, how we want to help people. This is our vision. These are our values. That's what people engage with and really respond to. And that is what, they talk about the know, like, and trust factor. That is what it is. It's not about having a bright, shiny brand. It's not about having beautiful Canva posts and, beautifully executed reels and all that stuff. Like, that's fantastic. Yeah. I actually don't have the time to create that stuff. And interestingly, I have tried to outsource that several times, but I can't effectively because
it's not you.
It's not me. And so I've just had to kind of accept, okay, most of my content is created by me and I invest money in other areas of my business. Now, I'm actually almost at the point where I need a little bit more support than just my VA and my, tech girl and stuff, but not tech girl, Elena. But it hasn't it hasn't affected the quality of how people perceive me in the marketplace, because I mean, I do videos, I've got no makeup on. I track my, like I'm set a goal for myself to do like a 50-kilometer ultra marathon.
Love it.
Year. And part of my content, seriously, it accidentally happened. Part of my marketing content is literally a selfie and my screenshot of my running time and distance. And I post that 2 or 3 times a week. And I'm just bringing people along on the journey of this is how you set and achieve a goal. And I say, this is what didn't work. This is what worked. So I'm showing them how you achieve goals. I'm not telling them that you do this and you set a SMART goal and then you blah, blah, blah.
Showing what you did. Yeah.
This is how you do it. And it's really messy. And I didn't feel like running today and I didn't feel like running today and I did. But, this is whatever. So share the story.
Yeah.
That is what people's hearts and minds connect to. And that is what builds brand loyalty. That is what builds referrals. That is what builds people going, she believes in what she is doing. And so by extension, they believe. But you have to fully believe in what you're doing, Nikki.
Yeah. Oh, I do. It's just getting it out there.
Don't be scared to communicate that.
Yeah. I love this. This is like a very personal, this is my session today.
Yeah. But not everybody's going to like you. That's okay.
It's okay.
People are going to be massively triggered. Like over the years, Nikki, I have unfollowed so many people at various points because I just was so triggered. And I knew it was my stuff. It was nothing to do with them. But I just thought, just remove the trigger. Go to work on what has been triggered, but just it can get out of your face for the moment, and that's okay. But, of course, the people that were triggering me were the ones that were doing the stuff I knew I wanted to be doing.
Right.
Putting themselves out there, being brave, not bloody caring what other people thought, being vulnerable, whatever. It's like, okay, I need to trust and believe in myself to be more of that. So that is the bit that's missing, right? Truly taking that inspired action in faith and trusting that the action that you're taking is the right action, whatever the outcome. So it's no attachment to outcome. It's got, this feels like the right thing to do today. And I was listening to somebody else, Helen Tudor was talking about, like, what is my money-making plan today? What am I doing today to make money? Because we think it's bad to make money. We shouldn't talk about it and stuff, but we're not working for free here.
That's what you're doing.
That's what we're here to do. And I think we pretend that we, being all altruistic and stuff, but I'm incredibly generous. I'm incredibly giving. I'm also allowed to make money. I've given myself
permission
to make money and to make a lot of it and to do great good things with that and to, I think whenever I'm stressed in life, it always comes back to the fact generally that I'm worried about money. Well, stop creating an environment where you don't have enough money. And then you're not going to be stressed because it's a horrible thing to be stressed about money. It's unnecessary. And we don't need to. We just need to set a clear vision. We need to make a decision that we're going to be successful. I'm going to be successful. We need to set a clear vision. What do I want? What does that look like? What does that vision of success look like for me? I need to understand how I want to do that, like what are my values that are going to guide all of my decision-making. And I need to understand where I want to go, why it's important, how I'm going to do that, what outcome benefit I want to achieve for people. Okay, what is the best action that I can take today to help me do all of the above? So it's a win-win-win. Everyone wins. Nobody's losing. We're not taking advantage of people. We're not making anybody do anything that they don't want to do. We're not being subversive. We're not being, manipulative. We're just saying, hey, you've got a problem. I've got a solution. But if we don't tell them, then how do they know? How do they know? We just assume people know. They don't know. How do they know? And another big shift for me too. I used to go, I'd ask my clients and stuff, can you do a testimonial? Can you share stuff? Can you, it sounds better when it comes from someone else. Like that was a story I had going on. And absolutely testimonials 100%. And I ask everyone for testimonials and then I share them everywhere. Just screenshot them. They don't have to go on a pretty Canva graphic. They just go boom out as they are. So it's just constantly reinforcing this message. This is proof I'm the person that can help you. This is the proof that I'm the person that can help you. If you're interested, send me a message. If you're interested, send me a message. Here's a link to the program, blah, blah. It's just constantly putting all of those messages out. It has taken me time. We're not being a pest, Nikki. We have to stop thinking we're being a pest. We're not a pest.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to a friend of mine, Jen Donovan, who is awesome with online marketing and so forth, right? And she was basically, I said to her, I'm not the best person in this light, but emails make me feel like, I feel like I'm a pain in the ass by sending an email because I don't want to be one of those annoying emails landing in people's, inboxes when I know it's not an annoying one, but I just don't want to be an addition to one of those thousands of emails that people get. But she's like, but how do people know about you if, they're subscribing to you, they're telling you they want to hear from you? I'm like, yeah, I know that makes sense, but I just don't.
But they can unsubscribe, Nikki. That's
I know.
okay. But again, it's like we are trying to presume stuff on people's behalf.
Exactly.
We are not treating them as an adult who is able to make decisions on themselves. So that energy comes across, right?
Yeah.
And also too with that as well, some of the stuff that helps me with that is I have just a weekly email that goes out because I had the same thing and list building and stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe we stop thinking about it as list building and start thinking about it as communicating with more people we can help and showing them how we can help them. Like just these little shifts.
Yeah.
So it goes out, mine goes out 9:00 every Monday morning. But actually I've got an email I need to send about this retreat I'm running at the end of August.
Yeah.
Been on the to-do list for 3 days, Nikki. And I'm like, Fiona, just sit down and draft the bloody email and send it. Like, why am I not sending an email? Because it's like I'm specifically asking them to buy something. And I'm like, okay, shut up. You've already sold most of the rooms. People want to buy it. They're going to have a good outcome. Why are you not sending this email? Because I don't want to be a pest. And the other one, this is the other one. And I think this is really common as well.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think I haven't sold all my stuff. Like I mustn't be very good if I've still got space available. It's like, stop
That's
that
an interesting
nonsense.
side of it. Yeah.
Stop that nonsense. It's like I've got my next steps for change is starting on the 31st of July. Like I don't have a full intake enrolled yet, right?
Yeah.
It's like, just keep doing your stuff, keep doing your stuff, keep doing your stuff.
Yeah.
Let people know there's 5 places still available. Like, let people know there's still space available. I don't believe in false scarcity. It's like, but I now need to start like, okay, there is a time sensitivity now. It's the 18th.
Yeah.
It's coming on the 31st. I know there's lots of conversations I've got booked in to have and stuff, but I hadn't been taking enough proper action because I don't have an online business, So now it's like, shut up, just stop it, do what you need to do. So this stuff is ongoing. It never ends. But
you're constantly we're all constantly evolving and having to retrain ourselves to a degree because we do fall out of it every now and then. I have to ask you though, because you are bloody brilliant, and I think many of us know that. That's why I was so excited to have you onto the chat today. But I'd love to ask you, what legacy are you looking to leave through all of this that you do?
When I had this true existential crisis, right? But I had this experience, 10 years ago, as I said, and I was so desperately unhappy, Nikki. I was so unhappy. Like I really unhappy. Like I wasn't end of my life or anything like that, but it was literally like, I don't want to continue on like this anymore. And then I started to discover that there was a way through that I did not know before this, because I'd always had this victim mentality, looking at the lack, everything else was everybody else's fault. I'm like this because of my childhood. I'm like this because of my ex. I'm like this. This is all because of everybody else. Then understanding this true awakening of I am actually responsible for my own existence and the quality and the experience of my life. It was truly transformational. In every way. Yeah. I just wanted to have that for other people. Like I wanted to give other people hope in their darkness. And then I was like, I've set massive fun. Like I am Australia's most successful female entrepreneur. By the end of 2029, I've got $200 million in my bank account. Like I've set very physical, material goals, but I also have achieved my fullest potential and I am living in complete inner peace and harmony. So I've got the intrinsic motivation and I've got the extrinsic motivation. But then I'm like, what is something that I can that is tangible, that has true resonance and meaning for me, and that gives me the ability to keep stepping out when it is incredibly, deeply, horrifically uncomfortable. And I don't want to do that because I would rather just be hiding under the covers of my bed, not dealing with any of it. I intend for my life to positively impact the lives of 200 million people. Now that number came about because I'd set this number of $200 million, right? And I'm like, okay, well, what is the human equivalent of that? And I'm like, that's the human equivalent. That's what I actually care about, transforming, helping other people transform. I could only maybe have to work with 20 clients for that to happen because of the ripple flow on effect from this work. That you take that home to your family, it changes your kids' attitude, it then changes the person that they marry, and this is I'm talking legacy stuff, right? That me just sharing what I know has the potential to create a positive flow on ripple effect out into the world. Not from a place of I'm the guru, or it's just
hierarchy. No, it's not about that. Yeah.
My life had a purpose. There was a purpose to the pain. That is what keeps me going.
Yeah. It's you. I love that. I really, really do, Fiona. Like just I summarize everything. Every time I get an answer, I think of summarizing, but there's no way of summarizing that because you just did it perfectly with respect.
Yeah, it was just that was the shift for me earlier this year. So I because my instructions were to write from my heart and speak from my heart, all of it. Like I can't not be honest anymore.
You just got to do you. You have to do you. And that's what people want to see.
Yeah. And give them permission to do them. That's what my life is this role modeling in a way, if you will. It's not about being perfect. I get stuff wrong every single day, Nikki, and I fall and I make mistakes and I don't live by my values, but I try and learn from it. And I don't always get that right either, but I don't give up. And that's it, right? That's all we can be.
But just not giving up. And that's one thing that is a part of your legacy as well. It's like not giving up. Be better, see how that makes, like you said, that ripple effect. And I think that's an awesome legacy to leave. And I think we all should be living by that, to be honest. Like we should all be wanting to do better and so forth and think better. That's an awesome answer. And I think that's probably one of the best answers we've had to the question on this podcast, in all honesty, because that is just humanity. That's just what it comes down to in the end. But I would love you, and you've touched on it a couple of times here and there, but do share the offer that you'd like to, share with our audience today, so we can, they can click on the link and so forth.
Well, I would love it if your audience would like to either go and listen to or read my new book, which is called It Is Possible, Letting Go of Who You Think You Are to Create the Life of Your Dreams. And it's a book that's been 3 years in the making. And at the end of last year, I wasn't even sure if it was going to see the light of day. I actually did think maybe I just wrote this book for me, But I was like, no, it's okay. You can release it. So if your listeners would like to learn more about that, they can go to the website, thehappinesshunter.com/it is possible. And all the links to buy the book will be available there.
On that page, yep.
Cool.
And tell us about your retreat. Come on.
Oh, okay. So I've been running retreats for years. Obviously, COVID put the kibosh on that. And then I ran a retreat at the end of last year with a friend. Actually, earlier this year, I should say, with a friend. And we did that. It was really good, but it kind of really just reinvigorated me to just do a Happiness Hunter retreat. So it's basically Friday night to Sunday afternoon. And we just do like Happiness Hunter workshopping, which is kind of the stuff a little bit like what we just did earlier. We do Qigong, we've got healings, meditation, go for walks, beautiful meals together. We'll pull the tarot cards out. It's really just a space. It's not a like a retreat in that you're going to lie by the pool for 2 days, but there's work that we do, but it's incredibly powerful and incredibly transformative. So I've still got 3 spaces available for that. If anybody would like to learn a little bit more about that, there's a queen room available, and there's also like a share room, which you can just buy for yourself, and we'll match you with someone else, or you can come with a friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the details and this bloody awesome chat that we've had today. I've learnt a lot out of it personally, but I'm sure whatever you've shared with me, I'm sure our audience have gotten a lot out of that as well. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate everything that you've given us today, your time, your energy, Fiona. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Nikki, and thank you for having me, and thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And you just feel confident to just go out and tell the world about it, Nikki, because nobody else can do that for you.
Exactly. No, you're right there. You are right there. But I'm going to do this for you. All the details of Fiona's offer and everything will be in our summary below. So do be sure to click on the link and subscribe to our podcast as well. Thank you again for your time, Fiona.
And leave a review. Leave the podcast a review. It helps so much. 5 stars, 5-star rating and a review. Why you loved it. Because that encourages other people to listen to it too as they're scrolling through what is the next podcast I shall listen to.
Awesome.
Nikki. Thanks. Bye.
Thanking our sponsors today and every episode that we do go live with, Wisdom and the Wisdom on Wisdom events. Be sure to check out details in our summary below. Wisdom is our learning and content management platform for anyone who's sharing their content online through memberships, courses, challenges, creating a community and engaging with their members. All details, like I said, are below in our summary.
Thanks for listening to the Wisdom podcast. If you enjoyed and have been inspired by this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, do subscribe and please share it with others. Post about us on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, Nikki Kelly, you can follow me on Instagram at Wisdom Podcast, WISEDOME podcast. I'm Nikki Kelly. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next time.